Hello. We have some people. Can you hear me? Yes, great. Katrina Chatfield, I see you're on the call. Could you do me a favour?
Yeah, hi. Sorry, I'm on mute because there's a 2-year-old going to yell at
Oh, okay. Can you log into my your Sporty as Kristen and see if you can see the competitions under Team Builder? That would be useful because I can't see what I've created today.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
So hello, everyone. We'll give it another minute. We've just got 6:29 on my clock.
Hi.
And this is being recorded.
Hi.
Katrina's got a little one at home.
Hi.
So if you want to put your mics on mute, that's all good, especially you are at home and you have young ones in the background. But if you have a question, I'm happy for you to take your, just ask away, take your Zoom off mute and ask the question. Otherwise, we've got the chat as well, which we can hopefully, if you've got any questions coming through. Alrighty, still got some more people coming on, some new names and some old names, which is all good.
Okay, so when I'm logged in, you want me to go into registration form process?
No, go into Team Builder on the dashboard. And it should be blue. You could share your screen if you wanted, Katrina, and I'll have a quick look before we get started. Anyway, okay, we'll get started. So welcome, everybody. It is 6:31 now. I don't know if you can see me, but my name is Teresa. If you don't know who I am, Teresa Smead. I've been here for a few years now doing primary. So tonight's little meeting is just a quick overview on netball. I don't know if there's a few new names I see popping up. So if you're new to netball, this will be really good for you. And if you've been around the block a few times, it might be a bit of a refresher for you. So yeah, welcome to primary for 2024. What I'm going to cover tonight is some information that I've put up on the website, which is for your benefit, and just to go through a few things, some important dates that you need to take note of. And if you have any questions at all, please ask at any time, interrupt me, or put something on the chat, and we can hopefully answer those for you. So starting off, we've got 3 venues for our primary competitions. We've got our Northcote courts, obviously, which is where I am right now. And then we've got our Hibiscus Coast courts at Edith Hopper Park in Manly. And we have junior netties at what we call junior netties, and that's the Westlake High School.
Sorry,
the Westlake High School venue. Okay. So that's on a Saturday morning. So what I'm going to just show you very quickly before we get started, I'm going to try and share this, is the page I've created on the North Harbour website, primarily for you guys to refer to and get your information. So I'm going to bring that up onto the screen, and then I will share my screen.
Teresa, I've also logged in, but I can't share my screen because you've got it disabled.
Okay, all right. I'll have a
But
look
I
at that for a
do-
minute.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me go back to Zoom. There we go, share screen. And I'm going to share this one. Okay, so hopefully you can see the Netball North Harbour website on there, on that page at the moment. And it's this area over here, right on the far right-hand corner. It's called Registrations 2024. And there's some pages on here that will give you all the information that you need pretty much for this year. The first one is this registration form process. There are some, it's because we use Sporty, which is the software packaging, or sort of, it does our draws, it does all our registrations, big database, where players and so forth register. And also, I think there's on here, there's some information for you about what you need to do. There's some videos on the right hand side here as well. So basically setting up your online forms for players to register into, and then setting up your teams online. So that page is quite useful if you need to look at it. This here, support@sportsground.co.nz, is the thing that will take you through to Sporty support, and that is if you do not have a login for your school, that is the place where you need to go to, or email them to get a login so that you can actually set all this information up for, online for your parents and stuff to register. So that page is quite useful, and we won't do that, we'll do that later. This one here is the club and school list. So this page actually has all our schools listed. Here's all our primary schools here. And if I click into, say, Birkenhead, what it does is it brings up the registration form for that school. And that's how your parents then can register. So they can either do it through our netball website, or when you go and log into Sporty, you can find the form following all those instructions that are on that other previous page that I was just showing you. And you can upload this form, like you can put the link into your website or into your social media, or you can email it out to your parents. You can also email directly your database from 2023. If they are, yeah, you can just email them pretty much directly from last year but follow the instructions on that page that I showed you before. So that's that page there. And this is the page I've set up for you guys for 2024, which basically has all the information on it that you need, hopefully, to help you get yourself set up for the year. So again, there's more information again about how to set up your forms ready to go so your players can register. You can go in now, you can make changes to that form. There's certain areas of that form you can't change because it's Netball New Zealand and Netball North Harbour information, but you can put a little introduction at the top to say, welcome to playing netball at Birkenhead School or whatever. You can also put in dates that are important to you, like, you know, you must sign up before such and such date or whatever if you want to play netball at the school, and all sorts of things. You can also put in your fees that you will charge parents as well, or give that information on that form as well. So you can do all that, yeah, through Sporty. So that's a little bit on the player registration. And then once you've got all your players and you've worked out how many teams you're going to have and who's going into what team, then you can register your teams as well. The big important date there is right there. Team registration for you guys closes on the 5th of April this year. So that is the date when you need to have your teams registered. You do not have to have your players in the teams at that point, but hopefully by then you should know how many teams your school will have and what competitions you are going to enter. All right, and so that gives you a little bit of a idea on how to get those teams registered in Sporty as well, which is through, when you go log in, you'll have a dashboard, and you do that through an area called Team Builder, which is what I was hoping. I was going to get hopefully Katrina to give us a little bit of a background view from your point of view as to what it looks like. but we'll have a look at that in a moment. There's a little message here. When you do go to register your teams, you do not have to write your school name because the system automatically puts that in. You just have to put the numbers in, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. So what do we have? We've got Northcote, we've got Hibiscus Coast, and we've got Junior Netties, okay? At Northcote, we play from year 1 through to year 6, and they're all on different days. So you can see here, the Future Ferns is pretty much what we call our year 1 to year 3 teams. They play on a Monday afternoon at Northcote. It's a shorter program, and it's a program, it is not a competition. Usually the year 1 and 2s play a little bit shorter than the year 3s. Monday afternoons is also a year 4 competition, and this is when they move into a competition, and that's about 14 weeks long. And then our year 5 and 6s play on Wednesday afternoons, and that is also a 14-week competition. At Hibiscus Coast this year, we're doing something different with our year 1 and 2s. We've had a separate program for them, but we're going to incorporate them like we do down here. Basically, year 1 and 2s can play in little teams at Hibiscus Coast, and the year 3s. So year 1, 2, and 3 will play on a Tuesday afternoon. And again, it'll be a shorter program for those guys. Year 4 and 5 will play on a Thursday afternoon, and year 6 will play on a Wednesday afternoon. So that's at Hibiscus Coast. We are also probably going to be joined by intermediate teams on a Wednesday afternoon. They will follow on from the year 6 teams, and we're going to get some year 7 and 8 teams back up there playing again on a Wednesday night. So that's at Hibiscus Coast. Junior Netties is on a Saturday morning, and that is only available to year 4, 5, and 6 teams. We can't do the year 1 to 3 program there. So year 1 to 3s only play at Northcote on a Monday or at Hibiscus Coast on a Tuesday. And we'll talk a little bit about the makeup of those teams, which you will need to know as well when you get all your lovely little kids signed up. So here's some important dates on this page. Obviously, we've talked about Friday the 5th is the last day that you need to have your teams registered. Friday the 21st of April, we have the time requests. That's when I like to have those in. Now, time requests are something, if you don't know what they are, we have obviously hundreds of teams here that play, and you coaches, umpires are in short supply. So often umpires and coaches might be doing more than one team. So you can put in a time request that those teams do not play at the same time. Okay, so all time requests must come through school coordinators. They do not come from parents. They have to come from you. And we don't give time requests for specific times, like because my child, I've got a lot of kids that do ballet on a Tuesday night or a Wednesday night, and they have to play at 4 o'clock. No, that's not how it works. Okay, so the commitment is if they're playing netball, they play netball. And if they do ballet, well, they have to sort that out. That's not our problem. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to get a draw done if we had requests like that coming through all the time. So really, it's just around those sort of coaching and umpiring conflicts and making sure that those teams don't play at the same time. Or if you have a team that needs to borrow players from another team because you're short of players, you can also request that those two teams do not play at the same time so that they can borrow players. And then Sunday the 28th of April, heading towards the end of the school holidays there, that's when we need all the players kind of in their teams, and they get put in that team for the year and they pretty much stay in that team. Players cannot move up and down teams willy-nilly. We also have a rule that, for these bigger schools that might have a number of teams, if you've got, say, 3 year 6 teams, we do seed them. So team 1 is obviously your highest graded team, and team 3 would be your lowest. Team 3 or team 2 cannot borrow from team 1, but team 1 can borrow from 2 and 3. So they just basically cannot borrow from a higher graded team. So so that's why we say players are registered on one team only. And that's your job to put those players in the team eventually. But it's a little bit easier this year with the upgrade that Sporty has done on the system. But we can have a quick look at that, hopefully. Some other important dates for coaches and managers. I always run a primary information evening. I run 2 of them pre-season. I'm going to do it via Zoom. I did it here last year, and most people wanted to do it on Zoom because it just saved that travel time when we're all busy people and parents and things. So this year they're going to be held on the 8th and the 10th of April, which is after Easter, but before the school holidays. That evening is for year 4, year 5, and year 6 coaches and managers, not year 1, 2, and 3. It's just year 4 and above. For those coaches and managers to attend, and they will get information on all the questions that they will probably have around basically coming down to the courts, doing rotations for our year 4 and 5, and just because it's so busy down here and everyone has the same questions, so I just tend to do it all at once on a meeting, and they are then ready to get down here and play. We're also going to be running an informal practical coaching session for year 4 to 6 coaches on the 11th of April. So that's usually run by our lovely lady, Michelle Wallace, who gets the coaches just teaching them basically how to coach passing a ball. But, she takes it right back to some of the basics. So especially if you've got new coaches or coaches who aren't confident or have been away for netball from a while, they can come along to that on the 11th of April, and there probably will be a registration form for this one. There won't be any registration forms for this. I will just send out information on the Zoom call, which you can forward to your coaches and your managers, and then they can just hook in and listen to me blab away. We will also run an informal practical coaching session up at Hibiscus Coast for our coaches as well. It may even include year 1 and 3 up there. We've booked the 8th of May, but I've just got to confirm that one, but that'll be after the school holidays. This one, the one down here, is before the school holidays. Hibiscus Coast is after the holidays because they start a week later than the teams down here. And then our Future Ferns, our year 1 to 3, on the 6th of May after the holidays. There's a coaches information evening for those guys, and that one is really important that they attend because we tell them how the program runs, because it's a modified game, and also we give them some tips and hints as well. So those are just, and I will email these dates out again to you all. So, but it's all on this page on the website if you can't remember. Now, this is a big one for you guys, the composition of teams. So it's very hard at primary sometimes with the numbers that you have when they all sign up, when you send out your list and say, right, who wants to play netball this year? We do have some recommended sizes of teams, and I'll just go through a little bit about that. So if you've got anyone keen to play year 1 and 2, it's a 4-a-side game. It's a very relaxed little 4 versus 4. If you're going to put in a team, we say at least maybe maximum of 6 kids. You don't want 10 kids, okay, in one of these teams. 10 kids is 2 teams. If you've got 10 kids who sign up, that's 2 teams. They don't do rotations. It's very, they basically just catch, pass, turn, and down 1/3 of a court. It's not even a full court. It's just 1/3 of a court they play. We've got portable hoops that we bring out and they go up and down. And there's no umpires for that. Basically, you do need a parent to be in charge of that team, because then they are on court with the kids running alongside beside them, pointing them in the right direction. Year 3, this is a 5-a-side game, and we say a maximum of 7 players. Again, if you've got 14 kids turn up, that's 2 teams. Or, if you end up with 8 kids signing up and no others, 8's fine. But you've just, the reason we give you these maximum numbers is to allow the kids to actually get on the court and play the game. Otherwise, they'll be standing on the sideline. This is also no rotations, and the schools do need to supply, for both of these, they do need to supply practice balls, size 4. So there's 2 size balls, size 4 and size 5. Size 4 is the smaller ball, which we use for all our kids under year 6, basically. We do supply them with a little team game ball. We used to supply practice balls, but they've all gone missing over the years. So now we've only got enough that we can hand out for the games. So they will need a little bag of balls to probably do their little practice sessions and skill sessions with before the game. So this is for both Hibiscus Coast. All these Hibiscus Coast and North Coast, all these recommendations here apply across the board for every competition we have the primary at Netball North Harbour. So year 4 and 5, so this is when we move into the 7-a-side game. So 7 players on court. We say 10 maximum, and if you could really ideally make it 8 or 9 in a team, that is your best number. Again, because these guys are doing rotations, and the rotations are they rotate every quarter. And it's really hard to do the rotations when you've got 3 kids standing on the sideline. So 8 or 9 kids, just to allow for those ones who don't, who are sick or away or whatever is the ideal. You can have teams of 7 and then borrow players from another team. And that's when you need to put in a time request so those teams don't play at the same time. For all of these numbers, like we've got the recommended number. If it's just not working out for you at your school with those numbers, give me a yell first before you decide how you're going to break these numbers down, because you can put in combination teams. So you can put in a year 4 and 5 team, or you can put in a year 5 and 6 team. We don't like year 4s playing in a year 6 team because the kids always play up to the higher age group. So a year 4 and 5 team will play in the year 5 competition. A year 5 and 6 team will play in the year 6 competition. So having a year 4 in there means that they'll be playing against kids who are 2 years older than them. From a health and safety perspective, that's not ideal, because year 6s will, because they could be playing against some very big kids. You can have a year 3, 4 team and play them in the year 4 competition. That is fine if you think your year 3s will be able to handle it, and so forth. But you can do combined teams. So if your numbers don't work out, give me a yell first and we'll see what will work best for you in your school, because we just want everyone to play basically. But we don't want like 12 kids in a team, because it's really hard to get them on the court. Year 6, so this is a 7-a-side game too, and again 10 maximum in the team, but they don't do the rotations. And they are the only age group that use the size 5 balls. And they play on the biggest normal hoop that you see out there. These guys, year 4 and 5, they play on a lower hoop, as do the year 3 and 1 and 2s. But the year 6s pretty much are playing what adults play on and with. I've got some information here too about why we have these numbers. Obviously, we want the kids to be on court, and we do have a rule that every player needs to be having at least half a game on court, that they don't come down, because our games are 10-minute quarters, and we don't want a child to come down and play 10 minutes and then spend the rest of the time on the sideline. So we get a little bit strict about that. So it's not up to the coaches in terms of, especially not with the rotations. With the rotations, we ask that they actually make their changes at halftime. But this is about, getting the kids on court and participating and learning the game, because they won't get better or learn if they're on the sideline. And also, if parents come down, they get upset if their kids have only been on court for 10 minutes. So, so that's one rule we have. And over the course of the competition, the 14 weeks, which is grading and when they go into a little competition, every kid has to have a fair amount of time on court. That's another one we're quite strict about, so that your best players are not getting full games every week, and your not so strong players are only getting half games every week. That's not allowed. All right, so every player has to have a sort of an equal amount or fair amount of time on court over the 14 weeks. So a lot of coaches, when we speak to them about it, go, "Oh, I didn't know that," but I don't know why they shouldn't, because we do mention it quite a bit. Boys obviously can play. Okay, there's no there's a couple of little restrictions with them, but pretty much you can sign up as many boys as you like in a team, but we only allow a maximum of 3 boys on the court at once, and you can't have 2 of them in the goal circle, but you don't need to worry about that. That's something to do with the coaches later on. But yes, you can definitely have the boys playing. And as I mentioned before, combination age teams, you can definitely do that. Year 4, not in a year 6 team, preferably in a year 3, not in a year 5 team, but you can have 4 and 5 and year 5 and 6 and year 3 and 4. That's all good. But they will play in that higher age group competition. Likewise, if you have a very strong Year 3 team and you think that they will cope in the Year 4 space, playing 7-a-side and doing rotations, that you can enter them in that if you wish. The Year 1, 2, and 3s, they don't play a competition. There's no points, there's no goals. I mean, they score goals, but we don't count the goals, okay? And there's no umpiring. So umpires come in at Year 4, Year 5, and Year 6. The coaches and the managers at Year 1, 2, 3, they manage the game. So when you get your teams together, bear in mind that yes, you will need to have an umpire for every team. Oh, you can worry about that a bit later. But we do have a lovely lady here, Sharon Fraser, who has a lot of junior umpires who do look for teams. So if you do get stuck, she's someone you can contact. But once you know how many teams you have, then you'll know how many umpires you'll need. We suggest contacting older sisters and brothers and parents to see if they will umpire. And if that doesn't work, contacting local intermediates and high schools to see if there's anyone, because primary is a very good place for umpires to start umpiring. So they may have some new, your local intermediate school might have some new umpires who are keen to do some primary games. Or as a last resort, contact Sharon. She might be able to help you out. You've probably got a few months to worry about that though. And then, of course, you've got your costs down here. I have sent those out already, what it's going to cost to play per team. The time requests, if you put those in, it's $20 per request, and it's just a one-off fee for the year. Additional players, you can have additional players. So what that means is you have your registered team, and then you might have a young child who starts at your school in term 2 and or term 3 and they want to play netball. You can put new players into a team. There's just that small additional player fee to pay, and there's another form for those players, which will be on this page and at a later time. And also you can do it at the control room. So if a coach turns up and they want to register a new player for the team, they can do that at the control room. We have a late default fee as well. So this is was brought in a few years back to stop players stopping teams from just not turning up. All right, so defaults happen a lot, especially around the last few years with things like COVID. If they've got a number of kids sick or away, they can default, but they just need to tell us by 12 o'clock so we can get the message out to the opposition team. If they tell us at 3 o'clock, that's way too late. We can't often get, the other team could already be on their way to the courts, and so they will get a late default fee. If it's after that, I say 1 o'clock kind of is the latest that I will accept it. But if you're or if someone calls up and says they're not coming at 3 or 4 o'clock, that's definitely a late default fee that will go to the school. You can obviously pass that on to the team. So please, get that message across to your teams that they can't just not turn up. And that includes our Year 1 and 2 and Year 3 teams, because they have an opposition to play. And that team will make the effort to get down here. And it's a bit sad for them if they've got nobody to play against. So, yeah. Also on this page, there's a little bit here about the time requests and when they need to be in. Like I've talked about those very quickly, and we've talked about umpires. That's Sharon's information there if you do need to get in touch with her. The cost, if you have an umpire, they do tend to, if you use any of ours, you will definitely be paying them, and it's a $10 cost to have an umpire. You pay it directly to the umpires. We don't handle any of that money, so it's like a bit of pocket money for these kids, but you might need to factor that into your school fee if you are having to pay for an umpire. So yeah, it's $10 per game for primary. School camps and productions. So this is a little form here that I get you to fill in if you're going to have a team away because they're on school camp, or you have your production coming up or something and they can't play that night. So you can just I get the form to be filled in so that I've got them all in one place. Otherwise, sending me an email, I might miss it. So basically, yeah, if you've got a team or a couple of teams that are going to be away, fill out that form, and basically what will happen, if it's grading, I will just leave the team off the draw. And if it's the competition round, unfortunately we don't do deferments, but they will just have to lose that game by default. But at least we can let the opposition know that that team will not be there that day, and we can, or if your grade has a bye, then I can work that bye into possibly the day that your team is away. So that's just you letting us know what school events that are coming up that, you know, could be an issue. Defaults and cancellations, we've talked about the defaults. Cancellations doesn't happen very often. If I'm going to cancel anything, it'll probably be those year 1 and 2 babies, because they don't run around as much as a year 6 will on a miserable night. I will let you know if we cancel anything. An email will go out to the school, the schools, and social media, and our website will have a banner on it saying what has been cancelled. We don't, like I say, very rarely cancel our older age groups. If it's a particularly rough night with a bit of wind and rain, we are okay with the kids wearing jackets or jerseys, as long as they've got bibs that can be seen when they're playing. But yeah, but especially the younger ones, we may cancel it, and they also don't play a competition, so it doesn't really matter. So that's that page with all that information. Up the top here, I've also put in some of the forms that you might want to go, like the time request form, the camps and productions, and the additional player form, which you might need to access throughout the, might need to do that during the season. I think that might be the video from last year, so I'll put a recording of this video up here as well. And the other thing, the dates, the primary school dates, and this is probably another very important thing you want to know. Apart from that closing date, this is I've sent this one out already. The other ones on that page, these are just them broken down per competition. So these are all the Northcote dates. So if your teams are playing here, this is quite a handy one here. So you can see that we have a pre-season tournament on the 28th. We have a year 6 field day on the 26th of June. I'll talk about that later. And these are grading days. King's birthday on the Monday, there's no play, and so forth. So that's quite handy to have. But this one's got everybody on there. So pretty much school holidays, 28th of April, that pre-season tournament on the Sunday is the end of the school holidays. The pre-season tournament, they don't have to go through you to enter a team into that tournament. So if you don't want to get involved with that, that's fine. The coach or manager can enter their own team if they wish to do that. Okay, it's an informal tournament to give the kids a bit of a run if they want to have a run before the season starts. I think the cost is $85 to enter the team, and it's only for year 4, 5, and 6 teams. Hibiscus Coast and Junior Netties, it's all here at Northcote, but they're welcome to bring their teams down and play. And we often get teams also from outside, like Wellsford and Mungawhai and down south come up as well. So that's always good fun. So that's 28th of April. I think we have a week's grace and then we start. So year 4 kicks off on Monday, the 6th of May. They are the first teams to start. Junior Netties starts on the 4th of May, beg your pardon. They are the first ones to kick off. So the 4th of May, that Saturday, after the school holidays, is when the Junior Netties teams will start. And that Monday following, the year 4s start and the year 5 and 6s start that Wednesday. The year 1 and 2s and stuff start a little bit later because they've got to do their little information evening, and they start the following week. At Hibiscus Coast, you have 2 weeks after the school holidays. And then your first games are on Tuesday, the 14th of May, the 15th and the 16th of May. As I mentioned, we do not play King's birthday, so Junior Netties on a Saturday and any of the Monday games, they don't have a game that week. Matariki this year, if you're playing at Westlake on a Saturday, you will be playing because Matariki falls just before the school holidays, and if we don't play, it's going to be really disruptive with the time. They're going to have this massive 4-week break. So we're going to carry on playing on Matariki, can't remember that exact date, the 29th of June for the Saturday games. And we don't play school holidays, so no play through the July school holidays, and then we resume late July, and most of the games, the year 1 and 2s finish a little bit earlier, like the 12th of August, but most of the games will be finishing in that last week of August. We have some saver days put aside in the first week of September, but hopefully we don't have to use those. So we always have those available if we have to not play a competition game. The grading games we can get away with, but if the competition games get cancelled, we may have to use a saver day. And that's the first week of September. So pretty much the season by September comes around is over. The other, I'd mentioned the Year 6 field day. That's on Wednesday, the 26th of June. That is only for Year 6 teams. You can enter a combined Year 5/6 team if that is the only team you have. It's during the school day. I will send out information further nearer the time. So there's no Year 6 netball or Year 5 or 6 netball that night. It's just the tournament. Hibiscus Coast teams enter the tournament as well, and if you enter the tournament on that Wednesday, then the Year 6 teams won't play that night at Hibiscus Coast. I'll just leave them off the draw. So that's really the only school tournament. And then we also have a mid-season junior tournament at the end of the July school holidays, and we also have a little end-of-season junior tournament in September. Again, you do not have to be involved with the pre-season, mid-season or end of season. The coaches can just, we get those real keen coaches out there that like their kids to play as much netball as possible. So we have those, and they are very popular. And then in term 4, there's a spring league, but that's miles away. Don't need to worry about that just yet. But those dates are in there. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Like, that's where you can find all the information. Like I say, getting this form ready to go out is the first thing you need to do, and linking it up with and sending it out to your parents, and then working out your teams. Some schools like to do trials, especially if they have a lot of teams, which I've been asked before, is that a good thing at this age group? Year 1, 2 and 3, no. Year 4, possibly no. Year 5 and 6, it is quite good because we seed the teams. The teams all start playing at the beginning of the year. We don't know where they're at because they're all a new bunch of kids every year. But they have 7 weeks of grading. So over those 7 weeks, if they're a really strong team, they'll go up the ladder. If they're not so strong, they'll go down the ladder. This is to enable the kids that they're playing teams of equal ability. So they're not getting smashed every week by a very strong team. At Hibiscus Coast and Junior Netties, it's a little bit harder because there's a less amount of teams, but they still get seeded. So we know who the strongest teams are, and we do know who the not so strongest teams are. So trialing is the same sort of thing. If you decide you're going to trial at your school, then it just, like if you think you're going to have 3 teams, yes, you can play them in their friend groups, but if you've got a kid who's not particularly strong in a strong team, she may never get the ball because no one will pass it to her. So it's just something to be aware of. But you do you at your school, whatever works for your school. But yeah, but some teams do that. Schools do that because they do have a large number of teams and a large number of kids who sign up. Yes. So I'll stop sharing that, and then I will, if we've got any questions on the chat. No. So has anybody got any questions?
I do around the umpires.
Mhm.
If we have, I mean, we've already had some of our ex-year 6 students.
Mhm.
Are there any opportunities? Do they, if we assign them to one of our teams, does our team pay them $10 a week?
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
If that's
So
what you
we-
want to do, if you have your own umpire, it's up to you if you want to pay them and how you do that or what you do, you know, like you might want to pay them a bit more. I don't know. But if generally the fee is around $10,
Okay.
and if you get any from us, it's definitely a $10 fee.
Okay. And do they have different abilities or like
Yes,
one
so
that's
the
never done it
umpires,
before or
yeah, so
something?
Sharon is running some, she's running a beginner, this might be actually something you need to know. There's a beginner junior umpiring course that she's running, and I'm going to promote it tomorrow, and I'll send out the information to you. So and it is open to year 6 students. So if you have any year 6 students or any ex-students who are now year 7 or 8, they can go along to it as well. No, actually it's year 6 and 7. And it's a 4-week program, I think. And they learn all the theory and they get out there and maybe have a little bit of a practice. And if they are keen to carry on, then, you know, that's how, you know, they can find a team to umpire, or Sharon will help them find a team.
Okay.
And there's also another course she's doing, Netball Rules 101, for year 8 students and above, to get them started.
Okay. Cool. And I was just going to ask, I don't know much about netball.
Yeah, that's cool.
Quite new to netball. So do they do club as well as primary school teams?
No.
No, they
So
don't. So this
no,
would be.
so we often get asked this question a lot from parents emailing us directly. Can my child play club netball? And she's year 5 and she's brilliant. But no,
Aren't
she
they all?
can't. So club netball here is primarily adults and some secondary school, senior secondary school students. Some slightly younger, if they're a bigger club, they might have a development team, but no. At Junior Netties at Westlake, we have had teams who are a group of friends where they've got a parent who's very organised, and they play as a club, but only on a Saturday at Junior Netties. Okay, so they can't do that here at Northcote, and they can't do that at Hibiscus Coast. But you have to have someone very, very organised who, you know, a parent who's usually quite passionate will do that. What was I going to say about? Oh, the other thing is too, with the Westlake grade, the Westlake Junior Netties, you can have kids registered to play at Northcote and at Junior Netties. They can play at both because they're separate competitions. But bearing in mind the health and safety of the child, that they're not in 2 separate teams having 2 practices a week, playing 2 games a week.
Yeah.
Some kids might be able to handle that if they're not doing other things, but if you have a Junior Netties team that plays on a Saturday and you also have a team that plays on a Wednesday, if that Saturday team is short of players, they can borrow from the Wednesday team, and the Wednesday team can borrow from the Saturday team. So that is allowed because they are separate competitions.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Cool.
Okay, so when we use Sporty to sign up, can we get answers in a spreadsheet type of reply? At the moment, we use Google Docs and Google Forms, which produces a lovely spreadsheet. Yes, so when your parents all sign in, you can pull off Katrina. Shall I see if I can allow you? Are you there, Katrina?
Yeah. Do you want to? You can export after your parents log in. After your
Yeah.
parents log in.
I'm
You
just
can
wondering
log.
if we could have a look at your back end to see if it's working now. Where's my sharing?
Yeah, it is.
Where do I find the share? Whiteboards, notes, more. Pause. No, I don't want to do
It's
that.
host disabled sharing machine sharing.
Yeah, but I don't know where that is. Security. Let's have a look at security. Enable waiting room. Lock meeting. Nope. I can suspend participant activities. Participants, just wondering, copy, share screen, summary.
When you click on your share screen, does it give you permission to share others?
Oh, that might be it. Advanced. No, files, apps, no. No, that's okay. So yeah, basically when you log into Sporty, you can go, so that the form that you're looking for, you go to your dashboard, and on the dashboard you will find a folder that says netball. I'm going to just do it with me here, and I'll log in, and then I'll share that screen. I'll give you a quick. Share screen. Owen's making some lovely noises there. Okay, so I'm in there now. So let's just go back to Zoom. I'm sorry, people, just bear with. I'm just trying to find that screen. Where's it gone? I wonder if it's that one.
Once you have got it up, Teresa, you can see all the grades.
Oh, you can? Great.
Yeah, so you've got Fun Ferns and then primary and then your Westlake up
Okay.
on the side under teams, all grades.
So this is me. When you log in, this is me logged into Netball North Harbour, obviously, but you've got this dashboard. This is, if you go into the dashboard, and yours might come straight up with the dashboard, you'll see something very similar to this. You won't see that because that's how I do your draws, but you'll have this online registrations, and this is your team builder over here. So online registrations is where you'll find the form, and what you're looking for is 2024 and this folder which says netball, and then you will find this netball registration 2024 form. So that is your form. So at the moment it's got the Netball North Harbour one, but that there is the form that you're looking for, and you can go in and edit it by using this little pencil here, and that's when you can change any details that you want to change, or you can put new questions in if you want to put in questions about dress size or something like that. You can do all that sort of thing there. You can also invite your database from last year by clicking on that little email icon. That won't allow me to do it, but it will allow you to do it. And this little link here, if you click on that link, that is how you copy the link to put into your social media, to put into your website, or wherever it is that you want to share it. Or if you are sending an email to a parent, you can put that link in and ask them to fill in that form. Or you can refer them to our page on the website. You will also see a netball scorers. Do not worry about that. That is to do with our all our scoring is done on an app, and when they register on the app, they will pop up on this form. But if you click into your form here, if I do this, it might pop up with. But if you click into that,
just really quickly, when we email our database from last year, does it remove the students that were year 6 last year and are now year 7, or do they get it?
I don't think so, because it goes to your complete database from last year. But what I normally put on things like that is saying, if you were year 6 in 2023 have moved on, please ignore this email.
Okay.
Yeah. But if you just click on that netball registration, it will bring up a list of all your players who have registered, and then you can export here, and you can export into an Excel spreadsheet. And then you can download your database that way as well if you wish to look at who has registered and who hasn't registered. Back to your dashboard, when you get onto that dashboard, this team builder is where you put in your teams. This is where you create your teams. And as Katrina has just said, you will see a list of competitions. Mine is different from what you see, so don't go with what you're seeing on my screen. But you should see a list of the competitions available to your school. You should hopefully only see primary, but Kristen, for instance, has college, intermediate, primary, so they will see a few more competitions. But if you're just primary school, hopefully you just see the primary one, and then when you you'll see the grades where it says year 4, year 5, or year 6, or year 1 and 2 and year 3. So you create your teams in those grades that you're wanting to put your teams in. And as I said before, do not put your school name in. That will be generated by the system. What we want though is numbers. And Hibiscus Coast, yes, you will be using numbers this year, no names. So Red Beach top year 6 team 1 will be just put 6-1, 6-1, and it's got the instructions there on what I showed you before. And your second team would be 6-2. Yeah. And
one thing it is doing is when you're in there and you've clicked on your primary school one, if you've got your screen too small, it won't show you all grades under the blue heading. So just make sure you expand your screen completely, and then you'll start seeing those grades that Teresa's entered.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's doing that, but.
So I think there's a, because there's a Hibiscus primary and intermediate competition, and you'll see year 7 and 8 there as well, but you're just worried about year 4, 5, 6, year 1, 2 and 3. And then there's also year primary. And for primary, you'll see that there'll be a Westlake year 4, Westlake year 5, Westlake year 6. That's if you're entering the junior netties competition. So that's where you enter your teams in those grades. We can move, if you've done it wrong, if you've entered the team in the wrong grade, don't panic, they can be moved. So what normally happens is once the 5th of April comes around, I export all the teams and I will send the list out to the schools and say, is this correct? Is this what you have entered? Because some people do make mistakes. So just got to make sure we've got all our ducks lined up and our teams in the right competitions. Yep. Any other questions? No? So that's pretty much it. Like, refer to that page. I will send information out over the next few months. Biggest thing for you now is just working out, sending your information out to your parents and finding out how many children want to play, and then working out how many teams you can create out of your numbers and where they sit. But if you have any problems with those numbers, they don't add up, give me a call. On the odd occasion, we may allow a year 6 to play down to a year 5, but you need to run that past us. You can't just do that. We need to know, and we need to know why, and we need some more details about how good that player is for a start. But yeah, so we will do that if that's the only thing that can be done, especially for some of those smaller schools.
Okay, but you'd recommend sending this out now?
Well,
it seems like a long way away.
Yeah, because well, you've got to the 5th of April to work out how many teams you want to enter. You don't necessarily know who's in what team, but for a lot of coaches, 5th of April is just after Easter, and you know, they want to do some practices before they start playing and stuff like that. So when school holidays is usually out for a lot of people, and then they come back and you've got a week and you're into it. So yeah, so depends on your coaches. They do like to have a little bit of a lead up with the team before they start playing. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
No worries. Thank you for joining in for a very quick meeting. I'd like to do it on Zoom so you don't have to travel.
Oh no, I appreciate that. We're up in Hibiscus Coast, so it suits me.
I will put this recording up on the website on that page that we just looked at. So if you need any help, and I might just an email away as well too. I do answer the phone occasionally. Oh, we've got one new message.
Thanks.
Just thanks. No problems. All right. So thank you, everyone. Enjoy your evening.
Okay.
Thanks, Katrina, for your help. See you.
Thank you, Teresa.
Oh, and if you're a school who's still got a cup from last year, can I please have it back? Thank you. Bye.